Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here, and we are going to continue to highlight the Epstein files that have been released. Now, this is the first time that I have encountered a string of mass censorship via the photographs, and I'm going to show you in order of that mass censorship. It's also the first time sequentially, even in these released files, and I'm going to show it to you as well, there seems to be a gap of about 10 or 11 of these photographs altogether. In other words, the file names themselves have been sequentially in order, and even the ones they're not showing you are still there, yet there's a gap, like I said, in about 10 or 11 of these files. We have now, after this broadcast, gone through the entire data set 1, and since that didn't tail off at 1,000 photographs, I got into data set 2, and right now we're probably going to be going over close to, I believe, 300 photographs. I think I'm looking over here right now, it's 293, but at the same time, some of them are context, there's plenty of repeaters, and I'm going to be very honest with you, especially in the first half of the photographs. A lot of those things are going to be academic, asking you, what you think, just showing you some of the computer material, some of the artwork. We're definitely going to have things in context. And as many of you know, if you've been watching this series of broadcasts, we went from the New York estate into Little St. James Island. Okay? And this one, in the second half, you're going to see some of the Clinton stuff. It's very bizarre to me, and I'm going to illustrate this. Clearly, Jeffrey Epstein is on this diplomatic trip with Bill Clinton, and clearly, Bill Clinton is making appearances with political leaders. And for some reason, the media has not said where this trip was. And like one of them, they're out on the tarmac. I feel ignorant. I wonder if it's Thailand or Singapore. That would be my guess. But once again, we're going to have to take a look at it. I'm sure my audience is going to get it. Shout out to the Bermas Brigade that has been watching these broadcasts, because it's only through your knowledge that we're finding things out. For instance, I showed a photograph of the cover of a Life magazine on the desk of Jeffrey Epstein. Somebody came back, had that. There was also another thing someone cracked and solved in that very same post. I've also seen, some people speculate on some things that maybe aren't correct. And as far as, outside of commentary directly on these videos and what's out there, you do have the delusional crowd again, reposting things that are not real, lists that were never real, documents that were never real, and acting as though they're new or they are real, muddying the waters. You seem to have a lack of urgency by the mainstream media to really dive into these files whatsoever. And you clearly have a government censoring them. And Thomas Massie, again, showing you that and bringing that to the forefront. We're also going to read a post that I found pretty intriguing in regards to the emails that have been released, and somebody putting together a little bit of a thread of the idea that Jeffrey Epstein was kind of at the forefront or very involved in Bitcoin. Now, he doesn't make any accusations that, he's directly involved or that he was like a whale doing nefarious things. But we're going to read the post, and we're going to let you guys decide how savvy Epstein was on something, not only like crypto, but Bitcoin in particular. So, we're going to get her moving. We're going to get her grooving. Thumbs it up. Subscribe, share if you are new. We've been able to grow with this video series on YouTube, so I want to thank all of my new listeners out there. We constantly want to reach new people. We're not trying to sit here and sing to the choir. At the same time, X, that's supposedly the free speech platform, is not. We've literally gained nothing there recently. And I mean, you look at our analytics. Garbage. Free speech, and I pay for that. And have no opportunity to make any money on that whatsoever. Just want to throw that out there. Not happy with how YouTube did me dirty for 5.5 years, but here we are. Still need your support. Obviously, we're not making millions on YouTube. We're not making thousands yet on YouTube. We're not making $1,000 yet on YouTube. I want to thank everybody that has reached out, has donated. Simon, Jimmy, Maureen, and others, Costello, etc. The Buy Me a Coffee, $5, $10, $15. It really does mean the world to me. Big donors, thank you so much. We've also got the PayPal down below. 'Tis the holiday season, man. We are 4 days out from Christmas. I'm not going to lie. A lot of car work to do. Literally in the shop right now. Not able to get all of it done right now. That's okay. I know it's not your problem. Cooler went. What was the other one? The what is it? The water pump went. Same time. Needed brakes. Got to get the pads. Didn't overdo it. Just pad time. And then the coup de grace exhaust system. New muffler. So you can put that together. Not cheap sauce. Do appreciate everybody supporting the broadcast, and especially appreciate marigoldresources.com for supporting the broadcast. If you're buying or selling a business, go check them out. And then, of course, the River City Reader, rcreader.com. Truly independent media. I bring you to X because, number one, we've got Massey and Ro Khanna apparently filing impeachment articles against Pam Bondi. If you watch the video on Massey, he alluded to this. Here, Massey is, I think this is either today or yesterday, government lies are getting clobbered by community notes, and I'm here for it. So the DOJ, photos and other materials will continue being reviewed and redacted, consistent with the law, in an abundance of cautions as we receive additional information. So they're telling you they're censoring. They are censoring. People are showing you examples. We're going to show you a slew of examples of photographs right after a slew of photographs of, obviously, what seems to be Epstein, maybe Ghislaine Maxwell with him, at a Rolling Stones concert on stage. And then just a ton of things censored. Okay? Here's Todd Blanche, who did the very soft softball and soft Merrick. Although, again, there was some merit to Ghislaine Maxwell speaking and her narrative, right? We've talked about that. But clear whitewash by Blanche. She was clearly given special treatment after that. Today, the Department of Justice publicly released materials related to the Jeffrey Epstein under an Epstein Files Transparency Act. Additional responsive materials will be produced as our review continues, consistent with the law and practices. No. Readers, the actions of the D are not consistent with the law that was enacted. Okay? All files. All files. And, here's the context. But again, you know what we're getting. So, before we read this post, I do want to point this Bill Clinton thing out, okay? Bill Clinton, a main character in the Epstein drop, just can't escape scandal. And we're going to show you this this photograph, okay? The idea that they can't tell us and track down when a lot of this stuff is dated, when a lot of this stuff is in binders, when Epstein took this trip and where they are. I even went to Google's Gemini, right? So, undisclosed locations, in a hot tub. How about you just tell us where he was? Just the country. Yes, we should totally trust AI when AI can't sleuth this out. I'm sure a human being can. I'm sure somebody that can, speak a different language than Jason Bermas can figure it out. Okay? So here it is. I just want to read this. I like it when I see new and original work on Epstein. Again, not just the parrots out there, not just the people going with whatever narrative is, in the alternative media and slick right now, or in the mainstream and slick. Not my shebango, as you guys know. Okay, that's going to be the first pick. Here it is. Jeffrey Epstein emails reveal he was linked to Bitcoin's early ecosystem. Here's what's happening. The biggest red flag is how close Epstein was to Bitcoin funding channels and early development circles. Here are the main links. MIT funding. Epstein sent $850,000 to MIT between 2002 and 2017. Part of these funds supported the MIT Digital Currency Initiative. the group that paid Bitcoin core developers during a funding crisis. Developer Connection, the DCI, was paying people like Gavin Anderson and Waldemar Vanderlaan when the Bitcoin Foundation ran out of money. Epstein visited MIT 9 times. And remember, has that close relationship with Chomsky, everybody. He met staff privately. His name was hidden internally. They called him Voldemort. The Manhattan meeting, emails show a meeting inside Epstein's mansion with Brock Pierce, early Bitcoin investor, co-founder of Tether, Larry Summers, former U.S. Treasury Secretary, and we know how close he was to Summers. They discussed Bitcoin long before it became mainstream. Summers said Bitcoin had opportunities, but he worried about his reputation if the price collapsed. The Bannon Connection, 2018, Epstein emailed Bannon asking how crypto taxes worked. He wanted advice on receiving coins, paying with coins, distributing coins, and avoiding campaign finance rules. Bannon replied, "On it," and connected him to FEC experts and crypto veterans. Early crypto research. Epstein's Amazon logs show he bought books on Bitcoin, Ethereum, blockchain, and negotiation strategy. By the way, we're going to go back to this in a second, but you notice how so many people are biting their lip on that Bannon connection. It's not exactly how Steve portrayed it as to what's in the emails. It would behoove Steve to release the Epstein interviews, unless, of course, they also don't paint him in a great light. I mean, how long are we going to have to wait for that? How is that not part of this investigation? How is that not something that the government went out and grabbed? They don't have to keep it, but use it for evidence? You bet. Just seems odd to me, is all. Seems odd to me. Bannon replied, "On it." Okay, so let's see. This was in 2017 while he was trying to rebuild his network. These 5 links alone show Epstein had access to developers, regulators, politicians, donors, and early crypto investors. And none of this was public until now. The emails show MIT underreported the donations Epstein visited through back donors. Meetings were not logged. Senior MIT officials approved the money privately. Bitcoin developers were funded during the same period. None of this proves Epstein controlled anything in Bitcoin, but it shows he was closer to the ecosystem than anyone imagined. So, food for thought, another angle on the Epstein case. Let's get into it. We got 293 photos to go over here. Here's one of those things. I talked about the koala bears, like these weird little pieces of art. And by the way, there's the date of Little St. James on the inside. We've talked about predator type artwork. We've talked about leopard print, tigers, cats of prey, etc. It's funny. I saw somebody, again, in the comment section start talking about the koala bears as if I said panda bears or as if they were panda bears. And, of course, I'm very well aware of the quote-unquote panda eyes conspiracy thing. And this is one of those things where I see people get totally unhinged and they want to address that idea so much that they'll literally orchestrate in their minds that the koala bears I showed you have something to do with the panda eyes conspiracy. Not here. We don't do that here. Sorry. I wanted to show this one, again, some of the artwork there. We've talked about the wildlife. It just looks very, very menacing. Looks like either a pelican or a stork. It just looks very, just predatory bird. Like I said, the first half of this, before we get into a lot of the meat and potatoes, probably going to bore some people. But hey, we do the real research here. If you like that, thumbs it up, subscribe, share, comment down below. We do the real research. Just wanted to show you a paper shredder on the premises. Camera on the premises, obviously, that appears to be, I think, a printer behind it. The photograph there in the distance, 3 women facing the other way. I'm not sure if it ends up being a painting of a photograph. This person right here, what is it? Mila Trestiza. For some reason, we'll come back to that in a moment, but they certainly looked at that person and yet another person and different types of identification. So again, these are all actual rabbit holes for people to go down in documents and pieces that other people have not gone down. So all these computers, by the way, they've also been seized. They're marked off. But let's do this one first. Like you said, like there's social security numbers. There's a bunch of stuff blacked out here. Here's the guy. So there's a male and what seems to be one female individual, like the right-hand side and left-hand side. Here's the male. It says Philip Anthony Baker, maybe? Yeah, Philip, out of New Zealand. So the Philip Anthony Baker. There's the New Zealand driver's license. But then right here, we've got that woman's social security number, Mile Laxon Trestiza. Some birth certificate stuff. I don't know what to make of it exactly. Other people, there's a Florida license right there, debit card, passport, and this is from the Republic of the Philippines. And like I said, like even that Bill Clinton trip could have been the Philippines. I don't know. Here's a marriage certificate, so perhaps these people were married. Again, they decided that this was something that they wanted to check out. Below that, we've got someone somebody Rodriguez's meds, right? The boat logs. Now, whatever's blacked out here, you notice there's a couple names kind of sloppily blacked out here. But just like we have flight logs, there's boat logs. Photographs will show you that there are probably helicopter logs, all things that have been discussed before. Thought this was interesting. But next to an ATM card and a watch in one of the rooms, his safe of evil. And we showed you parts of that safe. So remember, the New York raid is before they go to Little St. James Island. And on Little St. James Island, somebody has the New York Post cover of Epstein. Okay? So here's another sector. And look, I grabbed this because he's got the Mona Lisa. Obviously, it's not the real Mona Lisa. Let's hope not. Down in like the Denzian basement. If you see where it's marked E right here, you see like these ladder-like apparatuses. Well, that goes down underneath. Now, again, make of this what you will. I don't know what that is. I don't know whether that's like an escape hatch into the ocean, if there's something going on with the water system there. You take what... I haven't seen it anywhere else. I would imagine unless you're doing this like I am and literally going through every single picture, you probably haven't seen that either. So let people check that out. And, I wanted to show everybody a lot of these doorways. This one goes downstairs into a sub-region. I mean, this is his own island. And you look at that thing's rusted through. There's always some kind of maintenance. Then there's a server room down here underneath. As far as I can tell, there aren't a ton of underground corridors. And if there were, because again, so much of the speculation, the conspiracy theories, etc., what was going on in the temple. We're going to show you inside the temple. What some of those places that seem to be dug into the ground, people said there were cement trucks and this and that. Listen, the guy had all sorts of equipment there and all sorts of trucks. That's in the photographs as well. I always want to show people the tech that was there that we know about, the corridors, things like that, hatch that people can check. Okay? And like I said, the first half of this very, very academic. Servers, laptops, another laptop. That's highlighted. Now, what's weird about this one is here's Epstein at the White House, and I think that this photograph has been released already without the blackout. I'm going to do that one live. Let's do it live. Epstein at the White House. What's that? That's like the press conference, right? Let's see, images. No. See, I hate Google so much. At White House. Just doesn't want to give it to me. Doesn't want to give it to me. Nope, just the Clinton pictures. Yeah, you know what? Let's do this one live for everybody. Let's see if DuckDuckGo live gives me a better option. So it gives me all this stuff. And, once again, can't even tell me where this picture of Bill Clinton, and we'll show you this one, takes place. But let's go to DuckDuckGo. Let's see if DuckDuckGo gives me the correct picture. We got Safe Search off. No, they suck as well. Well, I mean, it'd be great if anybody out there would like to create a search engine that actually does its job. Because now's the time. Now's the time. I mean, it's gotten disturbingly pathetic that we can't find this photo right here. That what in the White House, can't get it. Really bothers me. Really bothers me how far down the bottom of the barrel we've gone. And by the way, this is a framed picture, as you can see, of multitude of pictures. This one they took several times of 3 different individuals that he had up there. Here's 6. Man, the 2 women in the black are kind of there, and a cat. 6 women and a cat, with another odd photograph maybe at the top here. Some more Epstein. Let's keep going. 4 women. And by the way, the reason I bring these ones in a lot is everybody talks about Ghislaine Maxwell, and they should. And they should. But, are any of these women, is this the Dubin woman who he dated for a long time? Leslie Groff, Sarah Palin, Nadia Marcinko, a.k.a. Marcinkova, Adriana Ross. The other co-conspirators that were not only named in the first grand jury case that have been largely forgotten, but people within the Miami Herald and other subsections of the mainstream media on Daily Beast reported on for years. For years. So who are these people? This is a photograph of Epstein with Sun Yi and Woody Allen. More servers, as you can see. Rack servers that are no longer in use. Right here. And some of these are old, by the way. If you take a look, these are old school hard drives and very, very dirty. Very, very dirty. But also, those are 500 gigabyte. They could be 3.5 or 2.5 drives. Another server room. Remember, this is all on the island. Went up to 2 terabytes. Now, a lot of these could absolutely be for video, surveillance, but other purposes as well. This seems to just be a card reader of some sort, and maybe they didn't know what it was. But they took another picture of it as a device. More Panasonic server equipment. This is actually outside, and the reason I'm showing this one is because it has a weird rock thing in front of it. And like I said, they go down. It seems like they go down into a lot of these. Epstein, for whatever reason, we showed you the cop outfits. We showed you the Navy outfit. We showed you the IDF shirt, right? He's got some fire gear. And I mean, that might be practical gear in case there is a fire on the island for sure. But just want to put it out there. More rack servers. Plenty of equipment. I just grabbed this room on the island because it was the only one that I saw was super disheveled for whatever reason. And out of all, don't get me wrong, there's been stuff maybe in the basement levels that wasn't, super, super organized, but nothing like this. In this room, there seems to be these photographs, maybe of his old neighborhood in New York where he grew up, has a cutout of Prince Charles and Diana before her murder. Divorce is no bar to throne, says Prince. So, for whatever reason, that's there. Little Epstein African art from the seat to the two pieces to the left and the right of the window there. Again, one of those facilities that, could lead anywhere. I just want to show people. It looks like there is no stairwell, at least right here. Looks like it's just a little shed. Get ready. We're going inside the temple. Let's do the temple. Let's get the thumbs up. Again, subscribe, share, let people know about the channel and what we do here. And please check out all the documentary films for free. So here we go. Outside of the temple, lots of shots. Looks like there's some renovation there. We're going to go right in. Like, if you noticed right there, by the way, kind of like let's shrink it up. Kind of like an old gross mattress right here. Seems to be on the floor. But again, you guys make your own decisions. Here's the internal walls. Now, you can see on the ceiling, and we'll see it. There is a painting on the ceiling. So this is the inside. There seems to be like this great, like, big vanity thing. Again, on the top, you can see kind of the painting. Power supply right there. Again, looks like there's renovations going on inside the temple. There's some of that. Cement boards. There's the wood. Power outlet. And here's that painting I was talking about. You got a centaur right here. You got a big ship right there. You got a lot of different animals. Some of the kind of like cat-like. But then, you got like dragon-like kind of things over here. Or I'm sorry, that's an angel with wings. So it looks like, I mean, if anybody knows what this piece is based on or has an interpretation for it, go for it. Predatory cats. There's another shot from the other side. This one's a little clearer for me to see. Definitely has some ancient Roman type depictions. And we're a little over a third way through the photographs. Do want to thank Chris for the generous sticker over on the YouTube. Again, thank you for all the super chats recently as well. Again, we're trying to do this. We're trying to continue to just survive. I wish I could say not only survive, but thrive. There were those days, but it's tough in the independent media world right now. Very, very tough. Right here, you got this closet, but you also got some electric here. Again, this one's pretty academic right here for that. And then we're in a different outdoor building, another rack server. Lots of servers. And the reason I bring those in as much is because it shows, look, there's some kind of a record here. Here's yet another room, another office room, another computer. Them, talking about work. Like I told you, there's constantly construction going on in these places. Here's the utility bunker. And again, this one's dug into the ground. And we got a big American flag in the background over at the island. So there it is. Dug into the ground. They go into all these. And this is, doesn't look like there's a stairwell to anything. Here's something I found interesting. You have this for a storage area, but then right here for the sundial, they didn't really take much of a picture from the top or more than one picture or some of the other weird stuff here. There's obviously this weird sundial on the property. I reported on it years ago. The Rusty Shackelford images from the top are bigger. Maybe somewhere else we're going to find some, again, I talked about the color coordination of this thing. Some pretty odd occultic roots there. Just pointing that out. Okay. I think this is a document from 81. And for whatever reason, it is here. It's the territory of the Virgin Islands. It's an acknowledgement of Little St. James. I guess this is the deed But again, you look at it, I don't see Epstein's name here, but this seems to be, oh, by the way, 322. Oh, Old Skull and Bones Day, 1981. This seems to be the deed to Little St. James, and it is on the wall. Another computer, showing you the computer stuff. Staff manual for people on the island. And then you look at the principal residences, and all their names are blacked out, okay? And phone numbers, and I get that. On the bottom, though, I want you to notice, yes, this is Little St. James. Here's New York State, or the New York Estate. We've seen those. Nothing on Zorro Ranch. The Palm Beach stuff, all we have is from that first raid in Palm Beach. And then the Paris apartment, nothing either. Now, obviously, I would assume the Paris apartment is not as large as the New York estate, but how would I know? Because I don't. You see some more stuff being blacked out here. And you notice right here, the executive assistant. Well, you can know who the estate manager is and the project manager and his attorney, Darren Endyke, all that. You can find his head accountant is Jeanne Brennan. See all that stuff? You can see all that. But for some reason, the executive assistant, they're blacked out. Let's just make it bigger so people can see. So whenever I see something like that, I grab the documents and I put it out in the arena. Same thing here. Full list of people that are employed there. And then for some reason, this one right here is blacked out. Just odd. All right, so now we're going to get some more of the salacious stuff. And missing files. And on top of missing files, the ones that are just clearly blacked out. Okay, and we've talked about Epstein and his weird decor before, and here he is wearing some of that decor. This appears to be Epstein on this trip, wearing his little navy sweatshirt and his American t-shirt, and I would think that these are, younger girls, women. Seems like an Asian nation. Might be that Thailand thing. Might not be. Obviously, somebody else is with them. And when I say them, I'm talking Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein, because someone's taking the photographs. Here's Epstein either in a hotel or at home with the Harvard sweatpants, by the way. And he is on the piano. Now, these are the big controversial ones, right? There's Ghislaine Maxwell, who, again, through reports on some of these documents, did have a hey now relationship with Clinton. Did have a hey now relationship with Andrew, according to reports. Just saying. And, of course, we don't know who's blurred out there. That person, again, blurred out here. There's Maxwell, Clinton again. And then there's Hot Tub Clinton. Now, these ones are out in the media, right? Now, here's Clinton in that shirt with Epstein. So, to me, it seems like here they're on the road. And probably in that as well. And here's that big, again, we've seen this photograph a lot in the media. And then the next one, like of note to me, is you got Ghislaine Maxwell in a very, very small little prop plane. Here she is in several photos dressed as a pilot. And there's the no parking helicopter. Now, here's what I mean about not knowing where Clinton is. Can't put this one together? Can anybody tell? I'm going to ask the audience right now. Can anybody tell me where Bill Clinton is? Because that's probably where he is in the other photos. This seems to be the trip. Seem to be a lot of Asians around. Nobody? Bueller? Is it the Philippines? Could be. Could be Thailand. Could be Singapore. I don't know. Here's Epstein in front of a bunch of different flags. Maybe that's a giveaway, and because they seem to be in the same place. There's several photos of Ghislaine Maxwell with this gentleman. And again, if you take a look, I mean, it doesn't strike me as China, but maybe the decor in the back. I don't know. I grabbed this one just because of the look on this guy's face. I don't know who he is. It wouldn't be North Korea, guys. I see North Korea in there. It would be South Korea if they were in Korea. There's no normalized relationships with Clinton and North Korea. So I assume that this person right here is Secret Service. Here's Ghislaine Maxwell right next to Bill Clinton in this same area. I don't know how the media hasn't fetched out where this trip was. Then you got Epstein in this other area in front of this bust. Again, we put stuff like that out there. And then, is this Jean-Luc Brunel? I don't know. I don't know at all. Okay, but Epstein's, they're really buddying it up in these two photographs together. Right? Look how happy Epstein is jumping around. Look how happy he is. If that is not Jean-Luc Brunel and that's somebody else, please, again, let me know in the comments down below. Okay? Not just the live stream comments. Now, this one was weird. So, you notice every single one of these has a number. And this is 3,203. And at that point, I'd gone through 3,203. Now, this one says it's 3,212, but there's no image. Now, that's weird. Because, again, there's other images where, like, we're missing, like, 10 altogether. But then there's other images that are just completely blacked out. Okay, so now we're going to start getting into the censored stuff. You're going to see, like, a multitude of pictures at this Rolling Stone concert. Here's Ghislaine Maxwell on a scooter. She's scooting, little Segway scoot. Not sure who that dude is in the background. And here it is. Okay, so like I said, there's this one moment where, and let's make these smaller because there's so many of them, where all of a sudden we're missing a bunch. Not yet. You see this 3,215, 3,216. Now, we're at the Rolling Stone concert, at least one of them. I would assume maybe on the left this is Jeffrey. I don't know, but this is all blacked out right here. So we got a big blackout on a lot of the Rolling Stone stuff. Let's keep going. There's a lot of Rolling Stone stuff, just a ton of it. Look at all this Rolling Stone. And these look like photographs that they one at a time took out and then made another photograph of. So we're Keith Richards. We keep going and going and going and going and going. And it's the same concert. This one might be, no, same concert. And then here, boom. So 3,235 and then 3,236, just totally blacked out. Okay, next one. Blacked out. Next one. Blacked out. Next one. Blacked out. Next one. Blacked out. Why isn't anyone talking about this in the sequence? You know, I'm seeing other stuff where people are talking about certain things blacked out, but this is why you quote unquote do your own research. This is why you don't take people's word for it. You shouldn't even take mine. You can go download these files and check this out yourself. So this one's blacked out. And this one's blacked out, but let's go out a little bit. You notice, like, in the corners, you can kind of see that's certainly a photograph under there, or multiple photographs, blacked out. And same here, blacked out. Did I mention you were blacked out? This one, too. This one looks like a multitude of different photographs. At least this one here, right? Blacked out, a little blacked out. Did I mention blacked out? How's the blacked out? Now, here's where maybe it gets a little more interesting. So 3,247 into 3,248 right here. I don't know who these people are with Epstein, but they seem to be on a runway and they seem to be in like a desert type area. You tell me who that is, but check it out. Next photograph, blacked out. Huh. So only half of that photograph right there, and again in succession, blacked out. Then we got this one right here. Blacked out. And then, you assume that these are similar. Half of the photograph here, blacked out. Small plane. There it is. You can even get the tail number there. Half of that, blacked out. There's Epstein on this, and it looks like, what are we doing here? Are we looking at just rocks? Are we looking at some kind of a excavation of an ancient tablet? I don't know. I guess your imagination could be running wild, especially with the blackouts. And then you got Ghislaine Maxwell here in a pilot's outfit with another pilot. You got Ghislaine Maxwell here. And remember, these are all still in succession with what appears to be some young Russian soldiers. And then blacked out. And then somebody, you know, with Epstein smiling and hugging, blacked out. This one here, this might actually be, you know what? I don't want to speculate on the two gray hats. But everybody in a top hat and Ghislaine Maxwell in her big hat. Okay. And I think that's, is this where we, no. There's other ones we have. We got another 100, actually. Okay. So let's see. We got this one, people hanging out. There's Michael Jackson. Oh, see, I have not gone through these. Or actually, we're going to stop it there, I guess. It's probably a good place to stop it. Because whatever, I didn't realize I grabbed more photographs. And there's, yeah, so this is like an ancient excavation. Right? You can see the things. It's very odd. I don't know who this guy is. But they're blacking out quite a bit. Maybe that's why, because I didn't see all the blackouts. And here he is on some other island. I'm sure somebody's going to be able to name who this dude is. Oh, Winnie the Pooh. We're going to stop it there. Man, I must have grabbed some extra, whole lot of extra Epstein. Or I put extra Epstein in this one by a lot. Because it doesn't look like these files are in there. But yeah, a sequence of about 12 missing. Then there's the blacked out ones. Plenty of stuff to go through here. Folks, my first Epstein video got demonetized. Almost 20,000 views on that. And when I say the first after the release. It was so difficult to make it in today's independent media. If you like what I do, please consider supporting the broadcast. $5, $10, $15. It does mean the world to me. Big donors, thank you. We may even be back today. I can see myself going through another 500 or 1,000 photographs and talking more about this. We're trying to give everybody a baseline. So if that is valuable to you, we've got the PayPal down below, jasonisvoid@yahoo.com. Jason Bermas, all one word, on Venmo. I don't think I've gotten one Venmo donation. Be the first. You know the drill, guys. I'm actually going to be on OAN as well tomorrow talking about this. It is not about left or right. It is always about right and wrong. Thank you so much for joining me. I love you, and I'll see you all in the